Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
It's our research unit, and we're talking about hugs. Kisses, 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 hugs. Now, a hug, of course, is when somebody embraces you. They put their arms around you because they like you. They're glad to see you and stuff like that. So if you've been studying overseas in Europe or something, and you come back home after, a year or so, and you see your parents at the airport, you'll give each other big hugs.
I would hope so. Yeah, hugs are important. We know from studies that have been done by scientists that newborns who don't have maybe their mother or dad, have passed away or there was some sort of accident, these newborns that are orphans, they need those hugs in order to really start to develop. And so I know in some of these orphanages, there will be people who volunteer just to hold little children because they need that sense that they're close to someone's heart and that someone's taking care of them. So hugging really is essential to good health, not just physical, but emotional especially. Emotional health is really important.
Indeed. So yes, hugs are an essential need. We do need them to survive. So indeed, if you have the chance, give somebody a big hug and let them know how you feel. So let's get to it. Let's talk about hugs in today's lesson. It's all about research. And let's listen now from top to bottom. Hugging is a gesture found in every corner of the globe. Hugs are used in greetings and goodbyes, as well as communicating feelings such as love, happiness, and gratitude. However, hugs have become a source of anxiety and potential infection in the midst of the pandemic. Friendly hugs and handshakes have been replaced with video calls and social distancing. We are used to being close to our family and hugging our friends, and this absence of physical contact has had a profound effect on many people. From the day we are born, we all require touch. A lack of physical touch during early childhood has been shown to harm the psychological development of children, resulting in trauma and mental health issues as they mature. This inherent need to be held and cared for follows us throughout our entire lives. Hugging is a fundamental way for us to receive the physical contact we seek. Several psychological studies have illustrated the positive effects of hugging. For one thing, it can reduce the production of cortisol, the stress hormone. This can lower anxiety, blood pressure, and heart rate. For another, hugging can increase oxytocin production. Oxytocin is known as the cuddle hormone or the trust hormone because it makes us feel emotional warmth, trust, and devotion to people we are affectionate with. This hormone has also been linked to reductions in pain, fatigue, and depression. In this way, hugs increase our happiness by strengthening our relationships. Throughout the pandemic, many countries went into lockdown, where physical contact was discouraged or totally forbidden. This was necessary, of course, in order to eliminate the spread of COVID-19, but these periods of isolation have highlighted our need to connect with other people through touch. Hopefully, as vaccines are deployed and restrictions are eased, we can restore our previous hugging habits.
Let's jump in. Hugs, an essential need. If something's essential, it's vital. It's absolutely necessary. You have to have it. So hugs are an essential need. It's not just something nice. We need them. So hugging is a gesture found in every corner of the globe. It doesn't mean that every culture is comfortable with hugging. I remember long ago, my first time I came to Taiwan, hugging just wasn't done. It was a long time ago, I know, but people were kind of uncomfortable. I love people and I would just start to hug them and they were like, whoa, even good friends. But it's becoming more normal. It's much more accepted these days to hug here. But yeah, it's a gesture found in every corner of the globe, all around the world. A gesture is just something you do, some sort of action you do with your body. You can gesture by nodding your head, pointing at somebody, hugging, kissing. I mean, there are lots of ways to gesture. If you want to say, come here, you can gesture with your hand. So hugs are just one more type of gesture.
A gesture is an expression with your body, so if you hug somebody, then you're telling them you appreciate their friendship, you like them, you miss them, and stuff like that. And some places hug more than others. Here in the Far East, hugging is not as common as it is in Western countries, but hugging is more common in Latin American countries. Those people are hugging each other all the time, and I can imagine places like Africa or I guess Mongolia or places like that, they might do a lot of hugging as well. I'm not quite sure.
France and Italy do a lot of hugging.
They do indeed.
But the Germans do not. So don't just assume because you're in Europe that people will hug.
Yeah, it varies on the country and the people. Some people are colder. Some people are more friendly. Expect to get hugged if you go to Spain or Mexico.
Yeah.
You're going to probably be taken aback by that. As you said, people in Taiwan aren't really used to hugging so much. Maybe the younger generation is better. I'm not quite sure. But hugs are used in greetings and goodbyes, as well as communicating feelings such as love, happiness, and gratitude. Yes, hugs are used for different reasons. If you greet somebody, you say hello to them, you might give them a hug. Don't do that to business people, though.
No.
You can shake their hands or something like that, but yeah don't give your new client a big hug. That would be really weird.
Now, a big hug is also called, I just want to slip this in, a bear hug. Ooh, that's a good hug.
That's
a bear
big hug indeed. And yes, indeed, you do this with people you know, your friends or your family, and they can communicate feelings like love, happiness, and also gratitude. Gratitude is when you accept the favor that someone did for you, you recognize it, and you want to express your thanks for that. So gratitude, again, is being gracious, is being appreciative.
Yeah, you express gratitude because you are grateful. That's the adjective form of the word. You're grateful for somebody, for maybe they've done you a favor, or maybe you just love them. You're grateful they're in your life. You can be grateful for a lot of different reasons. So yeah, sometimes we communicate that we're happy, that we like that person. Sometimes we're comforting someone. Maybe someone has had a tragedy and you want to give them a big hug. Those hugs help a lot when people are suffering. So it says here, however, hugs have become a source of anxiety. Anxiety is that feeling that you get when you're very nervous or worried about something and you're not feeling at ease, just something's wrong and you can't relax. Sometimes you get anxiety when you're taking a test, or maybe you have to go to see the doctor or the dentist. You might feel that anxiety at having to do something that scares you a little bit. I don't exactly like going to the doctor or the dentist. So sometimes you get these feelings of anxiety that come over you.
Right. And also, it could be a source of potential infection in the midst of the pandemic especially. So again, hugs are kind of something people are afraid of now. It's like, ooh, if I give you a hug, does that mean I'm going to become infected? Ooh, I better not do that. Maybe we should just pretend to hug each other, or maybe we can hug a big teddy bear or something like that and pretend it's the other person. Infection, of course, is when a disease goes into your body and you don't want that to happen. We oftentimes say we get infected. Watch out to wash your hands so you don't get infected. And infection, of course, is the process of being infected. And, of course, we're aware of that, or we're being very careful about that in the middle or in the midst of the pandemic. Hopefully, we're kind of at the tail end of the pandemic now, so maybe hugs will become more popular again.
Yeah, you'll often see in the midst of substituted for in the middle of, as Tom said, or in the center of something. This happens. So friendly hugs and handshakes have been replaced with video calls and social distancing. Those were some of the things that we were told to start practicing in order to reduce transmission of COVID. We are used to being close to our family and hugging our friends, and this absence of physical contact has had a profound effect on many people. I think it really damaged a lot of people. I know we probably had some of our elderly relatives pass away sooner than we wanted them to, not because of COVID, but because they were lonely and they missed their families and there was no hope. So I, for one, am against this. I think we should continue to take care of our family members, regardless of COVID or any other disease. I don't think it's a problem. So anyway, it's kind of a sad time. From the day we're born, we all require touch. They found in the ICU or the NICU, which is the intensive care unit for little preborns, these newbies, these newborn babies that are born sometimes before they're fully developed. Maybe they, come at 8 months or 7 months. They need for their parents to come in and actually hold them, if they can, close to their hearts and just let them feel skin. It helps them continue to develop. So we know from all of the studies they've done that touch is really important.
Indeed, and yes, indeed, if you don't have physical touch when you're a kid, when you're a baby, it can harm the psychological development of children, resulting in trauma and mental health issues as they mature. Now, before we take the break, we're going to explain the word trauma here. That just means something bad has really happened to you. It could be an accident. It could be a really disturbing experience that you had. You maybe found out some really terrible news or something like that. That can cause a lot of trauma. And trauma, of course, results in, physical illness and mental health issues. And this, of course, can happen to children if they don't have a lot of physical contact with their parents and maybe with their siblings as well. Okay, so it's time for us to take a break, but stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hello everyone, 我是派老师。今天讲解的是 Unit 5 Hugs, an Essential Need. 这个单元是文意选填的练习题，内容跟拥抱有关。这样的肢体动作在大家的生活经验中常不常出现呢？文章提到，因为疫情管控的关系，人际关系要有点保持社交安全距离，所以拥抱自然也就减少了。这对人的心理是有一定程度影响的。好，我们在主题解说前，老师要提醒大家，答题的时候要记得看看到底有哪些选项可以选。大致上把它们的词性都标出来，虽然有一些字词性不止一种，但是我们可以根据句子结构判断说这个空格应该要填入什么词性，那再根据文意找正确选项，这样子答题会比较有效率哦。好，那我们现在一起来解题吧。请同学看到第一题，前一句提到，然而在疫情期间，拥抱已成为焦虑还有潜在传染的来源。接着请直接看题干，友善的拥抱和握手以空格视讯通话与保持社交距离。在文意选填的题型中，如果空格前是 be 动词，空格则有很高的几率要找过去分词。be 动词加过去分词，这是被动语态啊。此外，人与人的接触其实都有染疫传播疾病的风险，所以第一题正确答案是 A, replace with， 意思是友善的拥抱和握手已经被视讯通话和社交距离所取代。紧接着请看第二题，题干，我们习惯与家人亲近，拥抱朋友，身体接触空格对许多人产生了重大的影响。从文法来看，指示形容词 this 之后必须是名词，再用前后文文意筛选，因此第二题正确答案是 G, absence, 缺少，意思是缺少了肢体接触，对许多人产生了重大影响。再来请看第三题，前一句，从我们出生的那天起，我们都需要接触。再来请看题干，已有证据显示，儿童早期缺乏身体接触会损害儿童的心理空格，导致他们发育成熟后的创伤和心理健康问题。 从词性判断，形容词 psychological 心理的后面需要有所修饰的名词，而 of children 表示儿童的。儿童的什么呢？也需要一个名词，因此第3题答案选 J development， 表示已有证据显示幼儿时期缺乏肢体接触会损害心理发展。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. We're talking about hugs, an essential need, and how they're used for different purposes. Sometimes we hug people for gratitude. They've done something great for us, so we want to give them a big hug. Or maybe we love them. Maybe we miss them. They've been away and they've returned home. Oh, big hugs, big hugs, big hugs. Or when we really need hugs is when we're suffering.When we're sad, we're depressed, we've had some bad news, perhaps some tragedy has occurred, that's when we really need hugs.
Exactly. And of course, after you finish your ride with your Uber driver or your bus driver, you should give them a big hug in thanks. I'm just kidding. That would be really strange. The taxi driver and the bus driver would probably think you're crazy.
They would be scared.
They wouldn't know what the heck you're doing. But again, as we said before,hugs should be reserved for people you're close to, your classmates, your family members, your friends, and stuff like that. Now, let's get on here and talk about what was happening with babies, basically, young children. They suffer a lot when they are not getting enough hugs, and they will have trauma and mental health issues as they grow up. And this inherent need to be held and cared for allows us or follows us throughout our entire lives. So it's not just when we're kids that we need hugs. You're going to keep needing those hugs in your teen years, when you're an adult working, and when you retire, and when you're old and gray, you still need to have those hugs.
Yeah, if we talk about something being inherent, it just means it's a characteristic of something. It's something that's just part of that thing.So it's something that we all need. Even though I think when kids turn into teenagers, they tend to not want so many hugs from their parents. Still, there are times when we need a hug. So let people hug you if they want to comfort you. It will make you feel better. So the inherent need, or that really important, essential need to be hugged and cared for, follows us throughout our entire lives.Hugging is a fundamental way for us to receive the physical contact we need. Even Taiwan has changed a lot since I first got here. I find that most of my friends, I would say all of my friends, and I go to church, and so the church members, we all tend to hug a lot there now. But I remember feeling like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have hugged that person when my first time to Taiwan because they were uncomfortable. And then I was uncomfortable because they were uncomfortable. So if you don't know someone well, you probably shouldn't hug them right away.
It depends on the person. So yeah, just know them and try to figure out if hugging is appropriate or not. Now, again, this is our research article. So we've got some studies that have been done that illustrate the positive effects of hugging. So these are psychological studies that have been done in universities and research institutes. And these studies have concluded that there are positive effects of hugging. Hugging is good for us. I don't think a psychological study would actually find that hugging is bad for us unless that person had a terrible disease or skin disease or something like that, and you hugged them and you got sick too. That might be an exceptional case. Most of the time, hugging is okay.
Yeah, there are portions of the hospital where people are receiving special treatments like a marrow bone transplant, and they can't be exposed to any germs at all. No one can touch them, even the doctors and the nurses. They have to be behind a plastic screen. So there are exceptions, but that's very rare. What can hugs do for us? Well, it can reduce the production of cortisol, and that is the stress hormone. The stress hormone cortisol can lead to an early death. So you don't want to be too stressed. If you find yourself feeling very stressed out because of work or school, you need to take a break, get up, walk around, laugh. Laugh helps. Stay with your friends for a while because that stress can lead to an early death, and no one wants that. We want our family and friends around forever. So this can lower anxiety, blood pressure, and heart rate. So yeah, you want to think about that and why the hugs are so important. You don't want anxiety to shoot up. You don't want to have high blood pressure. That's bad. And you don't want your heart rate to be going too fast because that's not good either.
Right, so hugging can reduce the amount of cortisol you have in your body. Cortisol is bad. But one thing you want to have is a hormone called oxytocin. So for another, hugging can increase oxytocin production. What the heck is oxytocin? Well, that is known as the cuddle hormone or the trust hormone because it makes us feel emotional warmth, trust, and devotion to people we are affectionate with. So if we have that hormone, then we feel close to people around us, we feel warmer around them, we trust them more, and we feel devoted to them, we're loyal to them, and we are affectionate with them. We just love those people to death.
Yeah, so this hormone has also been linked to a reduction in pain, fatigue is extreme tiredness, and depression. So this is definitely the hormone that you like. I haven't heard it called the cuddle hormone before, but that's cute. Makes a lot of sense. So in this way, these hugs increase our happiness by strengthening our relationships. To strengthen just means to make something stronger. We often will take a noun and put an en on it, and it becomes a verb. Length, lengthen, strength, strengthen. And so we definitely want to be strengthening our relationships.
Now we're moving on to the final paragraph for today. It says, throughout the pandemic, many countries went into lockdown where physical contact was discouraged or totally forbidden. Yes, indeed, lockdown is when people are separate from each other. People worked from home. They were not allowed to go out, or they couldn't go to stores unless it was an emergency or something like that. That's what lockdown is. And of course, as a result, people just did not have a lot of physical contact with other people. And not only that, it was actually discouraged. I guess they were saying, hey, no hugs. You can hug later on, don't worry. But right now, it's just too dangerous to get close to people.
Yeah, I think that they're reconsidering this advice now that we're behind COVID, that maybe that wasn't the best way to go. We lost a lot of people through these lockdowns, especially depressed teens who committed suicide and elderly people who were so lonely they wanted to die. So we need to rethink that for sure. I know that Johns Hopkins Hospital is saying that that wasn't the most appropriate way to handle COVID. It didn't really help things much. This was necessary, it says, our author says, in order to eliminate the spread of COVID-19. That's what they thought back then. Everyone was scared. Now, if you eliminate something, you get rid of it completely. So maybe your school has decided there aren't enough people who join this club, so we're just going to eliminate it. Or maybe there's a dish on a restaurant's menu that no one seems to really order much. Probably should just eliminate it. Take it off the menu so you don't have to worry about preparing it. Again, eliminate just means to get rid of something, completely remove it, or just exclude it from something.
Indeed. So hopefully, as vaccines are deployed and restrictions are eased, we can restore our previous hugging habits. So, of course, vaccines, are shots that we get to prevent a disease. Lots of people got vaccines here in Taiwan during the pandemic. And to deploy something just means to make sure people get this. There are various places you can go to get your vaccinations. And also we had these restrictions, which means limitations on what we could do and where we could go and stuff like that, or when we have to wear masks or whatever. And we're hoping that those restrictions will be eased or will be lessened, and therefore we can restore our previous hugging habits, and we can get back to giving each other big bear hugs when we see them after a long time. Oh, I miss you. How have you been? How have you been? Give me a big hug. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. Let's give a big hug now to our Chinese teacher.
接着第4题，这种空格抱着及被照顾的需求会伴随我们一生。拥抱是很基本的方法，让我们可以得到寻求的肢体接触。题干句子主要动词是 follows， 这个句子比较不好懂，因为它主词是比较长、比较复杂的。主词的核心其实是 need， 表示需要，前面只能找形容词修饰，所以第4题答案选 D inherent， 表示生而为人就需要有人抱，需要受照顾，这种内在既有的需求会伴随我们一辈子。然后是第5题，前一句提到一些心理学研究已经说明了拥抱的好处，一方面可以减少压力荷尔蒙皮质醇 cortisol 的产生。接着请看题干，这可以空格焦虑、血压和心率。助动词 can 之后需要原形动词，再用前后文意筛选。第5题选 E lower 减少降低。再来我们看第6题，前一句另一方面拥抱可以增加催产素的产生。再来是题干，催产素名为拥抱荷尔蒙或信任荷尔蒙，因为催产素会让我们感到情感温暖、信任和对我们空格人的忠诚。这个题干的句子结构也稍微复杂一点，请注意 warm, trust, devotion 是用 and 对的连接词所串联的，都是名词，所以从 to people we are 开始到最后，这个部分是形容词子句，省略了关带 who 的关系子句。好，所以我们会对什么样的人奉献投入心力呢？我们所爱的人。因此第6题选 B affectionate 有感情的。再来第7题，这种荷尔蒙空格也痛苦、疲劳和忧郁的减轻，这和第1题一样，空格前面是 be 动词，那我们要找一个过去分词组成被动语态。第7题答案选 H link to 与什么有关联。接着请看第8题，空格前又是 be 动词，一样我们找一个过去分词组成被动语态，所以第8题答案选 F discourage 表示疫情期间很多国家封锁管制，所以呢会劝告民众不要有肢体接触。再来请看第9题，第9题这边本句在对等连接词 but 之后的子句根本没有动词， have 是现在完成式助动词，后面需要过去分词，再用前后文意筛选，因此第9题答案选 I highlighted。 最后第10题，助动词后面需要原形动词，所以第10题选 C restore 恢复使复原。这里所表示的是希望随着疫苗接种普及和限制放宽，我们可以恢复以往的拥抱习惯。以上就是我们针对文意选填的解题讲解，谢谢。
That's it, guys. We hope you enjoyed just spending a little time talking about hugs and why they're so important for us as human beings. We hope you'll join us for our next program. For English Digest, I'm Stephanie.
I'm Tom. Goodbye.
Bye.